Hello beauties. So I wanted to come in the group today to talk about psychological reversal and what is psychological reversal and how can we use it. So I've been doing an awful lot of work on this and I've been finding it super exciting and a super big journey for myself. It's even taken a lot to just come on here today and speak, because to me, being seen and speaking has an underlying fear that I will actually be seen and loved and heard, and that's a big unconscious fear of mine. And if my unconscious was able to have if my conscious was able to control and have the thing that it would mean, I would actually get what I want. So how bad would that be? And I want to talk about this in a concept of my life and a thing that's always been a little bit of a kink of mine, and that was always fitting the role of the good girl. And that, I think, has been such a big thing for me, and I kind of understand the backlog reasons behind that now. So one of the reasons was, like, I always want to be seen as the good girl, because if I'm seen as the bad, what would that do? And I think there's an awful lot of attachment to that. Like, if you're seen in a certain way, then you are that thing. And your conscious and unconscious have this sort of like battle where they have to battle it out and see which one is like your true identity, right? So one of the things that I've been doing, which is really, really helpful for this, is to let go of the attachment to the ego. And that sounds like such a cliche thing to say. But one of the things I do here is I do wake up and I do a lot of mirror work. And I look into the mirror and I say to myself a lot, I'm not who I think I am. And by saying I'm not who I think I am, in my mind, it's, letting go of attachment to a certain character. And I can be a multitude of different characters at any one time. So I wanted to really come on here and speak to you about that, because one of my biggest realizations was, like, all this sort of like affirming to the universe stuff is not going to do shit if you haven't actually done your unconscious shadow work. So I can say that I really want something, and I'm affirming for money or a good life or a good relationship or whatever, but if deep down there's an unconscious saboteur part of me that's like, no, you can't have that, you don't want it, then it's always going to end up, I'm going to be like a snake chasing its own tail. You see what I mean? So now that that's kind of come to the rise of consciousness for me, it's been a really fun journey, and something that I've got so much out of, because I can actually look at it now and be like, that's really where the shadow is. And walking into this shadow, we have a whole stream of dark matter that's never even been looked at before. And most people, there's a difference between doing shadow work and actually integrating shadow work. So there's shadow mastery and shadow alchemy. So mastering your shadow is looking at it and being like, oh yeah, I've got a lot of unconscious fear around this, I'm gonna be my shadow's friend, I'm gonna acknowledge it, and I'll be like, oh okay, it's there, but it's just inviting it into the room. You're then always constantly gonna have to do a big sweep of shadow work, like all the time, because it's always going to come up. You're like, oh, there's my friend again, I've got to go deal with him because he's drunk in the corner. Like, when you actually start doing shadow alchemy, like the deep work, the deeper level stuff, it's actually becoming the darkness, not just integrating it and being like, I have a light side and I have a dark side. It's like, I'm going to go fully in and say that I am going all dark so I can then shed this and still have light on the inside and change that up. And I was thinking this the other day of, like, being like a Malteser. So like a Malteser gone from the inside out So I used to be all like love and light on the outside, and then deep down would be all my repressed unconscious stuff being like underneath. And now I've brought all that to the surface. It's all on the outside, but I know on my inside that where my heart is, there's still light, and that is a truer, deeper feeling than all this like on the outside, and then having that on the inside 24/7 constantly niggling at you is exhausting. Actually bringing it to the outside and delving and being it and being in it and being with it and acclaiming it and then releasing it, because I think there's a big claimant to your shadow as well. I've had a lot of pain on my shoulder recently, and I've been doing a lot of work into it. And somebody said to me in an embodiment conference the other day, they said, what if you could just not call it your pain? If you could say just the pain rather than my pain, and having claim and ownership to it, right? Because we want to hold on to the sticky stuff. That's what makes us humans. You know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. You're not spiritual. We're all spiritual. So yeah, that's a really huge thing for me, and I think that it's been really revolutionary in not claiming and owning it and wanting it and feeding off it and being like, oh yeah, the juicy stuff, just being like, this is what it is, and actually have fun with it rather than kind of playing its games. You play the games with the shadow rather than the shadow playing games with you, and that's been really revolutionary for me. um mm, yeah, I think I'm actually now probably the happiest that I've been in such a long time from looking at this, and rather than running away from it, just being open about it. And with that openness comes a sense of vulnerability, right? um and everybody feels that, and I think that it's about letting go of the fear of the sensation of that. So the fear of the sensation of being judged. So it's more, I fear that feeling because I've associated that feeling as being bad, rather than delving into it and enjoying that experience. Can I enjoy the experience of being judged? I like somebody, you know, if in my head I used to always think, oh, if I went on a live, they're going to laugh at me. Like, what if they did? So what would happen? What's the worst that could happen? Could I let my consciousness delve into that and go, oh, I kind of like it. I kind of like being laughed at because it's still attention, right? And it's like the naughty child where they're like, all attention is attention, even if it's bad attention. And there's a lot of like bratty subtext that comes into that, I think. And my ego loves that. It loves that game of attention, no matter what it is, it's attention. But there's a big underlying fear that, but no, that would mean that you aren't a good girl. That would mean that you'd be seen as something else. You can't let that happen. We can't step outside of the societal norms. You cannot break out of this mundane consciousness. And I look at that part now and I'm like, okay, I see. You want to be part of a tribe and you want to have fun and you want to fit in, right? And I think this is where we need to look at the distinctions and the difference between the actual human need and, you know, just looking at the truth of it. We're stepping outside of that ego mind. Because if it's coming from child consciousness and it's the child throwing the toys out of the pram going, but I want to be in the group full of people and I want to be accepted and I want to be loved, and you already have that need, you know deep down that you have that need and that need is met, then it's, for me, it's just the child having a tantrum. You can meet other people's needs, and I think that we can meet our own in our own ways. It doesn't always have to be, I need to change my behaviour to fit that need. I think it can be more from a level of, I can change my consciousness to fit that need. And if we can do that from a higher level, I think that is a lot easier, right? A lot better for us. I think this is where communication really comes into it. Because now I do look at that. I do look at things and I think, okay, so if I can get my need across to my partner and say, I'm feeling like this because I need this, and I can communicate that, then great. But if people don't have that skill, they don't have the skill of communicating their wants and their needs, and even understanding emotional intelligence of how they're feeling at that time, then it just comes out as, you do this to me, or you've done that, or I've had enough of this. And underneath that, when I hear that from other people, I just hear a child that can't communicate, a toddler that's having a tantrum because they don't have the skills and the ability to do that. And if you look at it from an unconscious way, you can look at it and say, okay, I'm not getting this need here fulfilled. Is there a way that I can fill my need without causing a scene? And I think that's really important, because if the person you're with doesn't have those communication skills as well, then you're just throwing tantrums back and forth at each other, and no one is being heard and no needs are being met. So I think it's about a combination of those skills. And I said this with one of my friends recently. I was like, you have all of this. You have all of these needs met, being part of a group. So this is just your unconscious playing games, if you know, because your unconscious likes to torture you. Your unconscious likes the feeling of self-sabotaging you. It's, it has a lot of fun doing that. If you can grab that before it happens and realising that it's not a child and it's more the unconscious saboteur that's speaking, then I think that's really valuable. So yeah, some of the things that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so that's a reason why the law of attraction will not work if you have psychological aversive. If you want something, but deep down you've got an unconscious fear of actually having the thing that you want, you're not going to get it, because it doesn't matter how much energy you put into it, you've still got that fear there. And you need to go deep in and do the deep work with it, and that's when it will start to make a difference, and you can let go of that attachment. So yeah, one thing to try maybe this week when you're looking in the mirror is, I'm not who I think I am. 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 And look deep into your eyes when you say it, because it really does release the ego from the characters that we play in our own consciousness, in our own minds. It's all a game. It's a fun game, but it's still a game. And this is where we can start to really live, when we recognise that. I think that another thing that's been really helpful is to realise the sensation of labelling things good or bad, and having that polarity of each. There's an eye that's just clicked on, so if you're one of those eyes, say hi so I know who you are. So whoever it is, I was just talking about the verses of different consciousness, of seeing things as all good or all bad. In my world, with my mind, that's known as splitting. That's what my unconscious does have the ability, and I say it as an ability because I think it's extremely powerful now, because I have the skills to look at it and see it for what it is. And I think that even people who don't split, who don't have my mind and my mental health, please say hello, whoever is the person. I don't know if it will come up in the comments or not. Hopefully it will. So my mind obviously does this. But when I can look at things as all good or all bad, I put a judgment on that sensation. So it's, oh, I'm not feeling good today, I'm not feeling this, I'm not feeling that. I delve into that rather than just allowing the feeling to come and saying, what does this feel like? What does fear feel like? Can it feel fun? Can it feel nice? Because I can trick my mind into thinking that. And a lot of people can't do that. And that's a great skill to have. So that would be another thing I think that, if you were looking into this sort of stuff, because it is really deep stuff and I'm so excited to do this sort of stuff in workshops, is to look at that sensation and say, what can I feel in my body? What can I allow? What can I give permission to? If there's a feeling that comes up and it's an uncomfortable feeling, or you've put a label on that it's an uncomfortable feeling, why is that? Because I like to delve in the sadness. What does that sadness feel like? Any sensation that we have, even pain, is just pleasure without permission. Can we give it permission and then feel into it? So that's something I'd like to share, and something maybe to think about. So I'll leave it there, and I hope you all have a fantastic day and look after yourselves. Let me know if you tried any of these methods in the comments, or what your thoughts are in general, if it's stirred anything in your mind and your consciousness. And I look forward to doing, hello, somebody else that's just come on. I'm going to put this on the replay, so you should be able to watch the whole video back on psychological reversal. And we've been talking about sensations in the body and what we give permission to with different sensations. I'm going to go now. Do watch back the video, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Beautiful ladies. Take care. Bye.